Okay, so you've got an extra $1,200 a month after the bills, after you've grabbed the free match at work, after the high interest cards are dead and buried. $1,200 that is actually genuinely yours to point somewhere. And there are two doors. Behind the first one, you hand that money to the bank. You shrink your mortgage. You watch the thing that owns most of your house slowly stop owning it. Behind the second, you hand the same money to the market, an index fund, the entire stock market in one boring purchase every month for years. Same $1,200, two completely different lives. And the internet already told you the answer, didn't it? The market does about 10% a year. Your mortgage is 6.5. 10 beats 6. Invest. Done. Next video. Here's what that answer leaves out. That answer describes a spreadsheet. It doesn't describe your life. And you don't live in a spreadsheet. You live in the 15 years between right now and the day one of these doors finally pays off. So let's actually do the real math. Two houses, same street if you like. In the first house, Dana and Theo. She's 41, an ICU nurse, the kind who works 3/12s and comes home wrecked. He's 43, fixes HVAC systems, busy season runs him ragged. Together, they pull about $155,000 a year. They owe $290,000 on the house at 6.6%, 26 years left to go. Second house, The Mirror. Priya and Sam. Same ages, same 155, same 290 grand at 6.6, same 26 years on the clock. I built these two families identical on purpose. The only thing different about them is the door they pick. Everything that happens after that is the door talking, not them. Dana and Theo pick door 1. Their regular mortgage payment runs about $1,950 a month. They start sending $3,150 instead. That extra $1,200 goes straight at the principal, the actual loan, not the interest, not the bank's pocket, the thing they owe. Now watch what that does. That mortgage was supposed to eat 26 more years of their life. It's gone in just under 11. They're free somewhere around age 52. The house is theirs, not the bank's, theirs. And the interest they never have to pay, all that money that would have quietly drained out of their account and into a lender's books for nothing in return, a little over $200,000. Now 6.6% plus $1,200 per month, 200 grand they keep just for being early. And if you've never once thought about a mortgage as a thing you can actually beat, sit with that for a second, because that is the whole reason this channel exists. To take the machinery running quietly under your money and make it something you can see. Okay, back to the houses. By 52, Dana and Theo have something most people their age never touch. A housing cost of $0. That whole $3,150 a month, the regular payment plus the overpayment, all of it is suddenly just free every month for the rest of their working lives. So they do the obvious thing. They pour it into the market. By 56, that pile alone is worth around $190,000. But here's the honest part, the bit the prepay crowd loves to skip. For 11 years, Dana and Theo were house rich and cash poor. Think about the year the roof goes, or the winter Theo's hours get cut in half. They've got a house worth a fortune on paper and almost nothing liquid in the bank because every spare dollar went into walls they cannot spend. You can't eat equity. A house is the least liquid thing you own right up until the day you sell it or borrow against it, and you tend to need the money on exactly the morning a bank doesn't feel like lending it to you. So let's open door 2, Priya and Sam. Same $1,200 a month, except theirs goes into a total market index fund. They keep paying the mortgage the slow way, the full 26 years, and they let the market do the heavy lifting. 15 years later, at 56, what's in the account? If the market does roughly what the last century says it averages, somewhere around $500,000. $500,000 out of $1,200 a month. That's the compounding everybody promises you, and it is completely real. But they still owe the bank, about $180,000, still riding on that house at 56. So that $500,000 was never really $500,000. Subtract what they still owe, and the honest gap between these two families starts shrinking fast. So line them up. Both couples, age 56, on the same street. Dana and Theo. House paid off, owe nothing, about $190,000 invested. Priya and Sam. Around $500,000 invested, but $180,000 still hanging over the house. And when you do the actual subtraction, when you count every dollar on both sides of both families, here's the part that should bother the spreadsheet crowd. If the market hands you a sober 7% instead of a flawless 10%, the two families end up almost exactly even. Basically a tie. At a full 10%, the investors do pull ahead by maybe $120,000 over 15 years. So yes, the spreadsheet was technically right. Over a long enough stretch, investing usually wins. And I'm not going to stand here and pretend it doesn't. But look at how it wins. It wins on an assumption. It wins on the market handing you a specific number you do not control across the exact 15 years you happen to be alive for. And the prize for swallowing all that risk at a realistic return is sometimes a tie. You rode a roller coaster to arrive at the same spot a guaranteed 6.5% walked you to, calmly, with the house already paid off. Now, two things almost nobody says out loud. First, about door one. When you pay down a 6.6% mortgage, you are earning 6.6%, guaranteed, after tax, risk-free. There is no investment on the planet that hands you a guaranteed, risk-free 6.5, not one. The government's safest bonds don't come close. So prepaying isn't the timid, dumb money move. It's a guaranteed return a hedge fund would fight you for, sitting in plain sight on your own statement. And the comeback you always hear, but the mortgage interest is a tax write-off, is dead for almost everybody now. Since the tax law changed back in 2017, somewhere around 9 in 10 households just take the standard deduction. They get no special break for their mortgage at all. So if you've been clinging to a loan for the tax savings, go check whether you even get any. Most people genuinely don't. Second thing about door two. That 10% average is an average stretched across 100 years. It is not a smooth, friendly deposit landing in your life every December. There was a run from 2000 to 2009 where the market went basically nowhere for an entire decade. Dana and Forder, that 10% weight. The physician value is no development for 50 negative leaders, and maybe a view in truth from the valiant of the market which is making needed develop today. Just it blink in 12 decade. People call it the lost decade. If your particular 15 years happens to contain one of those, that $500,000 is a daydream. And there's a quieter problem with door two. It's the one that actually catches people. It only works if you genuinely do it, every single month, for 15 years. Through the crashes, when the account is bleeding red and every nerve in your body is screaming at you to stop. Meet Marcus, 39. Marcus picked door two in theory. He told himself he'd invest the $1,200 every month because the math said so. But there's no bank pulling it automatically, no payment due, no late fee for skipping. So one month it quietly became a vacation, then a nicer truck. Then it was just gone, absorbed into a slightly bigger life he can't even. Point 2. 5 years on, Marcus has no extra investments and no extra equity. He picked the door with the higher ceiling and walked through neither. That's the thing prepaying does that no spreadsheet can score. A mortgage payment is forced. Discipline you never have to feel is worth more than discipline you have to summon at the worst possible moment. So where does all this leave our two houses? Honestly, a lot closer together than anyone selling you a course wants to admit. At a realistic return, the final numbers are nearly a wash, which means the decision was never really about the numbers at all. It was about the life wrapped around them. Dana and Theo sleep differently now. The day that mortgage balance hit zero, a low hum of dread they'd carried since their 20s just switched off. They can't be foreclosed on. A layoff is a problem now, not a catastrophe. What they actually bought with that $1,200 a month wasn't a return. It was the ability to stop being afraid. Priya and Sam bought something different. They bought options. $500,000 they can reach out and touch. If a business idea shows up, if a parent gets sick, if the right house in the right school district appears, they've got liquid money and the freedom to move on it. They're carrying more risk, sure. They sleep a little lighter, but they are not stuck. So here's the part where I'm supposed to tell you which door is right. I'm not going to, because the right answer isn't on the screen. It's in you. But I can hand you the questions that actually decide it. How safe is your income? If your job is steady and boring, you can afford the market's mood swings. If your money is lumpy, or you're one bad quarter from gone, a paid-off house is a fortress nobody can take. How do you actually feel about debt? Not how you're supposed to feel, how you feel at 2 in the morning. Some people carry a mortgage like a tool. Other people carry it like a hand pressing on their chest for 30 years. If you're the second kind, the math is irrelevant. Pay the thing off and buy back your sleep. Do you already have cash? Because if your emergency fund is thin, neither one of these doors comes first. You need liquid money in the bank before you lock dollars inside your walls or inside a market that can shed a third of its value the same week you need it. And the honest one, are you Marcus? If left to your own willpower, you will not actually invest that $1,200 every month, then prepaying is the only plan that genuinely runs, because it runs without you. 2 doors, the same $1,200. One makes a debt vanish and hands you certainty and a quiet mind. The other reaches for more and hands you risk and room to move. At a realistic return, they end up in nearly the same place, which tells you the whole question was never really math. The market doesn't know your name. Your mortgage doesn't care whether you sleep. The only number in this entire equation that actually decides how it ends is the person doing the math. So don't ask which door wins. Ask which one you'll still be glad you walked through on the worst day of the next 15 years. That's the real math.